Hi.
Merhaba.
Hello. And welcome to the Global Creators Podcast with your hosts Nessa, Mirette, and me, Holly.
This is episode 2, Creating During COVID.
In this episode, we want to talk about how difficult the pandemic has been for creators, but also share our tips and tricks on ways that we've found to motivate ourselves and keep moving forward. Don't mind my dog. It's a special guest for today.
Let me tell you guys my experience in quarantine or during the pandemic. It was not the best. I was really going through a hard time. I was not feeling okay at all. I had really some good plans. It was my senior year in college. I didn't enjoy that at all. But I was trying to look for the better or the bright sides. I spent a lot of time with my mom. We watched movies. I even discovered that I really love meditation. I really meditated like every day. Made me feel well. I baked a lot. And I decided that I will buy my new camera and work on my skills. I attended a lot of webinars and Zoom meetings for photography. It was really nice. It was really such a nice time at that time, which was weird because everybody was unhappy, but at the end, I was feeling okay. What about you, Holly? What was your experience?
Personally, my experience with COVID, whilst there were negative things, there were also positive things, I would say. Before we went into lockdown, I was in sixth form. So I was in year 13 doing my A-levels. Because of the pandemic, all our exams got cancelled. So I remember being in school and I was revising and everything. And then I got home and literally 2 hours later, we got told that all our schools were closing and that we wouldn't have any more exams. So it was kind of disheartening at the time, but realistically, I'm actually quite happy that we didn't have to sit the exams because my English exam was going to be 3 hours long and I really didn't fancy sitting through that. So I'm actually quite glad. Despite spending so long on revising and schoolwork, leaving early, it had its positives because it meant that whilst we were at home in lockdown, all we could do was sort of go for walks, and in the summer, sit in the back garden with your family. You couldn't really do much else. So I think the positive side of it is that I got to spend a lot more time with my family than I usually would, which I'm quite grateful for. People that went out for walks, I think it was really nice because when people are working or at school all the time, you often don't get that time to go out and, do your exercise or get some fresh air or just spend that time with your family. So I think that was really nice. And also it gave me the opportunity, photography-wise, to really develop my skills and try out new things. I mean, I counted how many self-portraits that I did in 2020. I did about 13 self-portrait sessions, which I think is quite a lot for someone who never really does them. Yeah, I definitely got into that, and I think I've really developed my skills in that area. And I also ended up starting my business during lockdown, so that was also another big win. How about you, Nessa?
That's a lot of achievements. Can I just say that? That's amazing. Well done. I mean, I think anyone who starts their business during a pandemic, I salute them because it's definitely not an easy time to achieve anything. And I also low-key envy both of you for still living at home because I live alone, and my heart really goes out to anybody who has been living alone for the last year because it is not easy. And I think especially not for anyone who's creative. I mean, everyone is struggling with it, getting ready in the morning, getting out of bed, going outside, and it's just, I think being productive of any kind is really a challenge for anyone, for whatever you're doing, whether you're in school or you work full time, or even, people who are at home with their families, because you are on each other's case 24/7. So it's like you're confined in your own space and you find it hard to breathe. In the last year, I've definitely taken that extra time that I would usually to see family, go out and about, do whatever normal people are supposed to do. And really, like, not even necessarily worked on my skills. I don't feel like I have actually shot a lot, but I've definitely, like, more consciously consumed content that's like helping me learn and helping me drive to push myself. So when it does come to it, I've got the information saved to later go back to it and have a look at it when it does come to it. The last year has been extremely tough with lack of motivation. You know, you have all these ideas and you almost feel guilty that you have all this time on your hands to better your skills, but actually it's really, really difficult to try and motivate yourself. But hopefully you're going to pick up some tips that we're going to share with you and that have helped me and helped you guys. So let's get on to those.
I would just like to share and say that with this group chat that we've had and meeting Nessa and Mirette has really made things a lot better in lockdown. I mean, we're in another lockdown now again in the UK, and I think it got really lonely at times because obviously I wasn't at school anymore and you couldn't see anyone except from your family. Like Nessa said, it gets quite suffocating sometimes, especially spending a lot of time only with your family. I mean, I'm sure we can all agree that we got sick of our family at one point for those of us that were living at home. But I think meeting everyone has really made everything a lot better and definitely brought out my creativity a lot more.
A lot of people are going through personal things anyway, and this has just had a huge impact on people's mental health because, you know, life as we know it's not going to be the same, but use the tools that you have at home to kind of work with what you've got to distract yourself. You know, if you get inspired by everyday things or conversations, I'm quite the type of person who like bounces ideas off of somebody else and then kind of something evolves, which is what got me really down at the start of the pandemic because I was working in an office, you know, your usual 9 to 5, and I was really struggling anyway. I always felt pressure because I am a creator to take the time of the weekends to shoot or plan something, or I don't know, just do something. I would always say I feel like I should really do this, like I have to do this. I should, not I want. I would always kind of guilt myself, and I was saying for months and months, I was like, it would just be so much easier if I had more creative friends. Then obviously the pandemic on top of that, it was even more difficult to talk to people. And the people close to me, I don't blame them at all. They don't know too much of being a digital creator. And so it was really lonely anyway, but then that on top of it, that you couldn't talk to anyone about your idea and then get like the motivation. Like, you know, when you talk to somebody, you get really excited about it. So for a really long time, I was talking to close friends and saying to them that I just wish I had more creative friends because it's so incredibly lonely. And I almost feel like I manifested being a part of this and creating this and meeting you guys. Like, I really do believe in manifestation powers. And I didn't before I met you guys. I was like, yeah, whatever. But, you know, it's really true when people say your thoughts are your reality. And if I wouldn't have spent so many hours going on webinars, then I would have never met you guys. So I'm really grateful for you.
We're grateful for you too.
Also, what I think is important is to follow and interact with people from your same community, the same interest, to find inspiration, find references when you do photo shoots or not just photography, any kind of art. And what is more important is to unfollow people who are being toxic to your mental health, because it's really important, because unintentionally you get like influenced by whatever they say, whatever they post, and it's really not good for your health during that time. So yeah, following and unfollowing people are really important.
Because really the only thing that you have on you 24/7 is a phone. So you're going to be scrolling. You've got no other form of entertainment. You haven't really got a lot to do. So I think the least that you can do is like clear up your space, and any kind of social media platforms that you are using, just unfollowing people. Like, I don't think anyone's going to take it personally, and if they do, I mean, that's on them, that's not on you, because you are the one who's consuming this content, and you're the one, you know, they're your feelings, and it's the impression that they leave on you, and it's really important that you look out for yourself first. So I agree with you, and it really helped me a lot to like literally go through my Facebook and my Instagram and just clear out anybody whose content I don't wish to consume. Or I also ask myself, is this person going to benefit me in the future?
I actually believe that sometimes you have to be a little selfish. Not the bad kind of selfish, but a little selfish to be okay. I mean, your mental health is your priority at the end of the day.
As Nessa suggested, consuming content that is good for mental health and also beneficial to us, I would like to recommend some good photographers that are out there that I think would really benefit all of you guys too. So obviously Jessica Cabasi is one of them, because obviously we all met through her anyway, but her YouTube videos I think are really inspiring, and she also shows you how to do a lot of things, and I think all three of us have learned a lot from her. And some of my favourite series that are on her channel are the Photographing Strangers series, because for one, that influenced me to go and photograph strangers before the pandemic as well. I really enjoyed doing it, and I don't want to go up to people during the pandemic and do that again, because I know some people would be quite wary about it. But yeah, she has some really good series. Also, the 4 Photographers Shoot the Same Model is also pretty cool, because I think it's really nice as a photographer or a creator to see photos from different perspectives, and I think that can really help you develop your own style as well, seeing other people do it differently. Another really good photographer is Marina Williams at Marina W Photo on Instagram. She also has a TikTok, and every shoot that she does behind the scenes, and I think that really helps with creativity and knowing how to make a setup, especially me. So I don't own any setups myself, so I've kind of had to do like little like DIY ones. But what I did was I got a bed sheet, and I tied one side of it to the door handle in my living room, and then I tied the other side of it to my spare tripod, and then I kind of just like did like that with it, so it made like a mini backdrop, and then I like sat on the floor and just used all natural lighting for it, and they actually came out way better than I expected them to. So I think that just goes to show that you don't need professional backdrops or anything to do self-portraits, because I've done, you know, adequate portraits with just what I've got at home really. So yeah.
As for me, I really love low light photography. My small setup is that I connect my laptop to the TV, a big TV, and I open YouTube, searching for neon lights or disco lights, I don't know. Preferably I love pink and purple together. And yeah, here we are, low light photography with cheap budget. Actually, I'm so thankful for the people I've tried low light photography on, which are my friends, so thank you so much, guys. So yeah, I'm a big fan of low light photography.
I definitely highly recommend following any kind of artist or photographer, a videographer, whatever, you know, whatever your niche is. Follow them on social media, watch their behind the scenes, kind of get a feel for what they do and how they do it. I followed a lot of people that influence me and that inspire me, and it's just really cool to see the behind the scenes of how they shoot something or how they filmed something. Definitely also, if you are going to do a project, post it online, get other people inspired by what you do and share what you are doing. You never know who you might actually inspire. When I started using stories on Instagram, it really I had such an overwhelming positive response of people saying like, we love your energy, like it is so cool that you're still creating. Like, it wasn't easy at all, but I think there are like billions of people on earth, and there's definitely a space for you, for your voice to be heard, and just share it if you do feel like you have a creative moment. But also at the same point, don't pressure yourself. Don't feel like you have to conquer the whole entire world just because we are in a pandemic. It's difficult, and just make sure that you're looking after yourself first and not pressurizing yourself to be creative.
That it's okay to post whatever photo you took, even if you believe that it won't get enough likes. I used to think like that. I still really think that getting enough likes would be such a great accomplishment, but I'm trying to work on that, because I don't know, it has something with the ego maybe, but I once read that just post it, it might really inspire someone. It doesn't have to get enough likes, who cares, you're just showing your art. So
I think, like what Mirette was saying, even if you think a photo isn't good enough, I think, like she's saying, it can inspire somebody. And if you don't think that it's like at like a professional level of photography, creators or photographers who are at like a lower level of like experience than you might be able to learn from it, because people that have less experience will probably see it and think, wow, that's really good. But because you do have more experience, I think you're way harsher on yourself than you need to be. So yeah, I definitely agree. Just post it and go out there and inspire people.
Aside from like unfollowing people who don't do you any good and following people who you feel inspired by, whose content you do actually want to consume, another app that I never thought in my life I would actually like is TikTok.
Same.
I was so against downloading TikTok. I was like, I'm not using that. What's that? Like, come on. I miss Vine. Vine was the one. And I still miss Vine, don't get me wrong, but actually, it's so good. It's really good. If you don't have TikTok, download it today. That's one thing that you can do, aside from liking us and following us.
It's funny because from the three of us who never really used TikTok before, creating our TikTok for the podcast has been actually pretty exciting. And every time we get like views or likes or someone comments, we get so excited about it. And I think that's quite funny to me.
It's just really nice. So what I was saying before about following kind of creators that influence you, the same applies to TikTok. So I love following photographers on there, or actually creators in general, like people who start their own business, people who are filmmakers, people who like do comedy sketches and things like that. It's just so cool that everyone's posting like a behind the scenes of the making of something and then actually the result. Like, it's just, I feel like it is just such a real community. And actually a lot of mental health issues have been, like, I've been exposed to a lot of mental health issues that are completely normal, that everyone goes through. Like, TikTok has started to make me feel, like, so normal. Like, even in terms of props and setup and alternatives that people are using, I've, like, picked up a lot of hacks. Like, for example, my light right now, I'm, like, just using a normal living room light and just put a sheet over it.
can I just add that Unscripted, ever since I discovered it, actually Holly was the one who talked about it, and I was like, okay, let's download that. And it's really amazing. You can just it shows you it has like a sun tracker, and it shows you when's the blue hour, when's the golden hour in your location, and it's amazing. It has really helped me a lot. Also, it has like a sample poses, because we as photographers, we struggle with, directing the photo, and the model will be like, what should I do? And I'm like, I don't know, just do whatever you want. So yeah, it has like a sample pose for models, so I think that's really helpful.
I've just got to say about that app, for doing my self-portraits, someone recommended it to me, so I started using that, and like I say, I did a lot of self-portraits this year. So last week I went out shooting with a friend, shout out to Alfie, so he's getting into photography at the moment, and I decided that I would model for him so that he could, test out portrait photography. And thanks to that app and, inspiration from Instagram, TikTok, everything, he pretty much said to me that I should I'm like a natural like model because I know what I'm doing, because I've practiced it so much. So I really recommend that app. If you keep using it and keep practicing, you will literally get it stuck in your head and you won't forget anything.
For years, I've always said, no way am I going in front of the camera. I don't want to be in front of the camera because I'm going to get shy, I'm going to get blocked, I don't know what to say. And then I did Sorelle Amore's Selfie University course and started to take more self-portraits. It's definitely a pro tip. If you don't have anybody to shoot with right now, socially distanced, then definitely just pick up the camera, pop it on a tripod, use the self-timer or get a little clicky remote, and just do that. Like, just pick up your camera and like carry on shooting, and because at least you've got yourself. If there's anything you've got, it's yourself.
I really agree with what Nessa's saying. I think the best way to learn poses is by practicing with yourself, and once you start doing them yourself, you will remember them forever. And when you go to a session with somebody, they'll be stuck in your head and you'll know exactly what to do.
Yeah, you'll also be able to like direct your model or who you're shooting. I think it's nice to be like, oh, move a little bit to the left or move your arm that way. But it's even better if you can show them the pose and demonstrate, because then, well, they'll know just to mirror you, and it makes it a lot easier communication wise.
Also, I want to add something I discovered during quarantine, or I don't know, I found people doing it. It's the Facetime Photoshoots. You basically like call your friend or your model or whatever a FaceTime video call, and you basically direct her and take screenshots, and voila, that's a photo shoot. And really, I think it's so creative, whoever just discovered that or did that.
I also tried a FaceTime photo shoot with my friend Sophie. Granted, the photos didn't come out very well, but I think what I learned from it is, again, how to direct my model. And because obviously you're not there with them, you can't physically move them or like stand up and like show them what to do. So I think it really helped people with like communicating with models and how to pose them. So a good website that I found out about in the last year or two is A Year With My Camera. This website, you sign up to it, and you can sign up every 2 months to start the new course. It's a free course. Basically, when you sign up every week on a Thursday, the person who made it, they send you a little guide of like things to learn every single week. And then at the end of it, it has like a little task for you to do so that you can like put it into action and test it out. So I think it's great for beginner photographers or people who want to learn more. So definitely check that out if you have plenty of time in quarantine right now.
Facebook is another really good platform. It's not really used traditionally for the younger generation, but it's where you'd find a lot of webinars.
So I myself use Facebook quite a lot for photography. Like Nessa said, I get a lot of ads for webinars, and that is where I find most of them. Also, you can join a lot of Facebook groups. So like there are so many Facebook groups for photography or creators, like any type of creative art that you're into, you will find a Facebook group for it. But also, in terms of advertising your business, Facebook groups are another big useful tool that you should definitely use. And I can say from experience that they work very well, and it is very easy to find new people.
If there's one thing I can recommend you do today, is to start writing down your ideas. Because while you might not necessarily feel inspired to do them or have the motivation to do them right now, at least you'll have the list handy for when you do feel ready to start creating. Make a mood board, get excited for whatever it is that you do want to do. And then when it comes to it, you've got all your ideas in the bag, because in the end of the day, ideas are absolutely priceless.
We hope you found today's episode useful, and we hope that you can relate to us in any way at all. If you head over to Instagram, show us your photos that you took during your lockdown and tag us at The Global Creators Podcast and use hashtag The Global Creators Podcast. We would love to see them and hopefully feature some on our story.
We can't wait to see what you guys created, and let us know if you found any of the tips useful and if you use them. And if you have any other suggestions of what you'd like us to cover.
That's all for today. Thank you for watching and tuning in. See you in 2 weeks' time, and bye-bye.
Bye!